What's going on, guys? The Prepper Dad here, and I want to thank you guys for sticking around. You know, I haven't made videos in a while because honestly, there are so many channels, so many that deal with emergency preparedness, aka prepping. So for those that are still here, for those that are watching this, thank you. I promise to be doing a lot more because I'm going to slightly do a detour on this channel with something that really I just got today. So you're going to see it. We're going to do some unboxing. Let's talk about it. I have a number of videos that deal with dehydrating foods and what you can do with it, but I want to do up that. I wanted to provide another way to preserve food for much greater lengths of time. And as you can see behind me, this just came today. So we got a Harvest Right freeze dryer. I could not be more excited to get this plugged in. I recently just got it, like I said earlier today, and I've only been able to get that out of the box. So you're gonna follow me along as I take a look at everything that I got. Help me set it up. If you have comments, questions, suggestions on what goes in there first, or maybe second, maybe third, you know, let me know and I'll explain to you what I plan on doing with it and what my wife, why we got it. So let's take a look at what we have in this box. So we got the Harvest Right Small. Now, some of you guys will ask, well, why did you get the small? Well, because it's a little bit easier on the wallet, and we were looking at what we currently do for preparedness as far as food, and we thought that the small would be just fine. So here's the trays that come with it. There's 4 of them, but they're packaged in 2. You have the large box here that's for the pump, and we'll look at that here in a minute. What is this? The guide to freeze drying. Great. Now, a lot of people say stop. Okay, I don't have any questions. A lot of people will take a look at an owner's manual. I'm a guy, so I know this from experience, and not read it. However, with this, I am definitely going to be reading this throughout the days, throughout the weekends. Here's, what is this? We got Mylar bags. This is the 8x12 size. There's 50 of them. We have, this is an oil filter. I know I'll be using that at some point, but not today. Here are some hoses and the electrical cord. Yeah, can I get this out with one hand? Yes, I can. This is the impulse sealer. Now, if you guys don't know what that is, I'll show you after I take it out, but it's basically what you seal up the Mylar bags with. And then, of course, before you seal up the bags, you're gonna put some oxygen absorbers in there. Oh, 50 of the 700 cc's. So then you do have the pump. I will not be able to get this out with one hand, so I'll show you what it looks like after I put it on the table. All right, that's pretty much it. That's where it's gonna live. You got the pump on the right, you got the Harvest Right, the freeze dryer right there in the center, and then you got some hoses and the oil right next to it. And the reason why that I have the pump on the right is because, well, below it, on the right wall over here, is down here is where the plug's at, and so it just makes sense to have that closest there. I'm gonna have to crack open this instruction manual because I have know what to do right now, but as I look at it, I need to straighten out those rack holders. All right, unpacking. Look, when you unpack something like this, it was 90 pounds. That's the weight of the freeze dryer. But then you got that big box with all the other supplies in it. You just got a bunch of garbage laying around. Luckily, this area, as you can see, it's my workout room that my wife and I and our kids use. And so it's downstairs. That's another reason why we chose this location, is because from what I understand, from what I've heard, that actually the pump does make noise. You knew that, right? But it's downstairs, so it'll be out of the earshot of, you know, normal daily activity. It's not going to bother us while we watch TV, eat dinner, whatever. So that's why we chose down here. At some point, I will probably upgrade the table, just because I don't know, it's just one of those lifetime tables, and you see all of these stainless steel metal tables. I know that kind of looks weird on, what's Prepper Dad doing? Well, I'm looking at the table. It's fine for now, but I just wanted something a little more sturdy. I've sat on it, I've laid on it for extended periods of time. Those are my 80-pound weights, 160 pounds in total. I set that on the table where the freeze dryer is at right now, and I left it go for a couple days. It was just fine, so I'm not worried about that table at all. But it's always nice to have something of a little more solid quality. But I'm going through here, unpacking power cord, vacuum hose, pump, shelving unit, trays, owner's manual, which I'm reading right now, oil filter, other materials not listed here. They may have been included. So other materials, what could they have also included? Actually, that was useless. It just says inspect all the items. Power switch, trays, power cord. But you guys don't want to hear this, but I'm the one, you guys are watching my video, so you kind of have to go. I haven't done this before. This is our first freeze dryer. Tell me what to do. After your freeze dryer, okay. Freeze dryer assembly. Okay, wait 24 hours before running your freeze dryer in order to facilitate proper settling of the refrigerant within the condensing unit, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with just letting it sit there and do its thing. Once unpacked, place the freeze dryer on a level, stable surface. I have that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through all of this before I start putting it together, but I do understand that the very first thing that I need to do is called the bread run. And that's basically, you know, you have a new piece of equipment, you're supposed to run it through a first cycle. Well, the trays that I have, I'm gonna fill those up with bread, just regular pieces of bread. And that's supposed to test if it's working properly. It will also take care of any other, you know, I don't know what it's supposed to do, like the oils that you know, shipping, you know, it's a piece of machinery, right? So you want it to do its thing before you actually put in food that you plan on eating, storing, selling, whatever, regardless of what you got your freeze dryer for. So I'm gonna look through this and get things ready to be set up. Look, I understand that some people just want to see the finished product. Sometimes I'm the same way. However, there was a few videos of freeze dryer setups and unboxing and everything. It's like, oh, that was really, really valuable information. And so what I'm doing now is, this is the oil that came with it. And here, I need to fill it up a little bit past halfway. I think that's what they said. So that's what I'm gonna do. But you guys, well, nah, you don't want to see that. All right, well, I guessed correctly, because there is a reason to have the pump on the right side as you're facing it of the freeze dryer itself. You see that little black knobby knob? I need to plug one end of this hose into that knobby knob, and then the other one will go into one of, well, that guy right there. So that's what I need to do now. This is one of the hoses that was provided with the freeze dryer. So I'm gonna do that and we'll be right back. All right, I'm just gonna make mention of this now. It's not a big deal, so I'm not gonna show you. And it's gonna be kind of hard to do without, well, I need to hold, I can't hold the phone by doing it. But this power cord here, this is the one that's gonna go into the freeze dryer. And then that one is actually going to get plugged into the wall. There is a power cord already attached to the pump, which plugs into the back of the freeze dryer. So if you're wondering, does each one need its own power source? No, the freeze dryer needs its own and will provide the power to the pump once you connect them. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll go to the next step.
Connect the vacuum pump power cord to the receptacle in the rear panel, blah, blah, blah. I did that, yes. And then I also plugged it in to the wall. Make sure the power switch to the vacuum pump is in the on position. O is F, not O is F. O is off, I is on. Okay, let me check that. It says to secure the door, and the handle is a 2-stage door. So what does that mean? Got this, but then it goes, it locks. It's almost like a locking thing, but it doesn't lock, if that makes sense. You gotta make sure, I go, that you hear the click. All right, I've connected the drain hose there. As you can see there, it has the hose coming from there, going all the way down into there. I put a few buckets down there, not because it has holes there or anything, but because it's a brand new hose, it doesn't like to lay straight. So what I'm doing is just, I'm using more buckets. I only need one, aren't using the other ones currently. But what I wanted to show you is that this is in the open position. I'm sorry, that is in the open position. So when I need to open up the drain valve and drain it, goes that way, and then back this way, that will close it. So that's all that is. And one other thing, I don't know if I mentioned or not, but you see there's like this black ring that goes all the way around. That one is a little bit sus, as the kids say, but you'll see it all the way around when the door is fully closed. That gasket, let me open this real quick. This gasket right here is movable, so I know that I can pop that out just a little bit. I can test it again.
I found this on the web.
Sure you did, Siri. Shut up. So then you can see there, it's fully good. And the reason why you want to have that checked out is, as I'm reading, is because as this thing creates pressure, as the the reason why you want to make sure that that has a good seal is because as it's in the process, it will create the vacuum, and you want to make sure that the gasket and the door are touching so there's no leaks coming from there. Okay, you want that vacuum pressure to build up because, again, it's going to go through a freezing process, it's going to go through a heating process, it's going to extract all of the water, 98-99% water, to ensure long-term storage is possible. And look, guys, this food that comes out of here, if done properly and stored properly, with the correct bags, the correct way to get rid of the oxygen, you're looking at 25, well, some say 20, some say 25, some say up to 30 years of possible food storage. And so that's important to us because what we buy today, it's going to be that same price when we open it years from now that we bought it for today. And we know, we absolutely know, no matter what reason why you have a freeze dryer, that the prices of anything and everything are just going to go up. Why didn't I do this sooner? Okay, so I'm at the point where it says that I do need to do a bread run. And they even used the term car smell, so the new car smell. So that's what we're trying to get rid of, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm gonna go fill these up with some pieces of bread and then stick them in the freeze dryer and then let it do its thing, I guess. All right, so I'm getting ready to do the bread test, and one thing that it did mention is not only does it need to be bread, it needs to be slightly moist. So what I'm doing is just getting these slightly moist as per the directions. I'm not trying to saturate them, just trying to get them moist. All right, I think I did it. Let's go. All right, the bread is loaded up. I turn this thing on, and the very first time I can customize it. If I want to rename it, I'll do that later. But I'm gonna hit start, and we have the Premier pump. Reset pump hours. I don't need to do that, I don't think. Okay, press save. Cooling, wait 15 minutes before loading trays. Well, I already did that, it doesn't matter. So it's gonna go do its thing. I guess we'll come back later and see what happens. But actually, can you hear that? I guess that's the sound of the pump. That's about as loud as it gets. Not too bad. All right, it looks like the system is ready to go. So everything is loaded because I did that earlier. It's not a big deal. Hit continue. Now it's freezing. So this is the hurry up and wait process. So let it do its thing, and it's gonna sense it on its own, because this thing is smart in the sense of it can tell when things are ready. But there's also some settings at the very end if you need more drying time, or if you want to, you know, sleep and let it continue to freeze. You can't over freeze something. You can't over dry something. Once it's dry, it's dry. But it's just it's in the afternoon. I'll be awake, and so we'll come back and check on it. All right, guys, it is the morning after, and it's the bread run, and so I wasn't necessarily too concerned about adding more dry time while I slept. I know a lot of people will do that so they can, you know, so the food won't regain any kind of moisture, even if it's slightly a little bit. So maybe you can hear that beep in the background. That's just basically letting me know it's done. And so one thing that I want to show you is first what the screen says. All right, there is the bread. It'll say process complete, open drain valve to vent. Again, you want to make sure that you open this first. Let's see. You hear that? So it's doing its thing. Open this up. I forgot to hit, I'm not going to defrost it. I don't know. I hit no defrost, I don't care right now. Before I take the bread out, I do want you guys to realize and notice that I have a towel down here. Because again, this is going through a freeze, defrost. You will accumulate some liquid, and so it is recommended to have something there just so your floors or whatever doesn't get wet. All right, so here is all 4 trays on here, and I don't know if you can see that or even hear it. But I mean, it's done. It's frozen. So it just kind of crumbles. I mean, it's dry. So that's all gonna go in the garbage. So that is the bread run. It can take 5 hours, but I've read on forums and things that it can take up to 24. So don't be discouraged if it doesn't go as quickly as possible. Every bread run, I guess, is different, but it's just something that you have to do. One thing that may have caused a little bit longer of a process is with anything that has refrigerant, it is recommended that you do let it sit for 24 hours. Mine didn't necessarily sit for 24 hours. It wasn't on its side. I did let it rest several hours before then, and so maybe that's something to consider. But all in all, it was a successful first batch, I guess, dry run, bread run, whatever you want to call it. So stick around, there'll be more freeze drying adventures with the Prepper Dad.